right, ladies and gentlemen, so what are we going to be doing today? We are going to be making something that everybody tends to wear nowadays, it seems, and that is buttons. Buttons are incredibly easy to make, incredibly quick, and just, and to be honest, a whole lot of fun, because the method I'm going to be showing you right now is simple, quick, and honestly, the biggest thing is let's not make a million buttons. Let's make a couple really, really good ones. Okay, to make buttons, what you are going to need is a couple things. Number one, you're going to need a button maker with the appropriate size dies. And when I say dies, I mean this section right here, these metal objects right here. You're also going to need your backing, these little pieces right here, your metal plates, and a thin plastic to stretch over and protect the image underneath. I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like saran wrap. Okay, and you're going to need your object to put on the button. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this. Number one, you can print using your printer and cut out an image later. What I like to do, because I don't like just printing and copying other people's ideas. I like originality, and I like to make something unique and you. So what we have here, and of course, what we have here is a cutting device that I'm going to show you guys how to do in more detail. And other than that, you need a good idea.
Our next step, ladies and gentlemen, is very simple. We need to cut out circles, as we can see the hole over here. We need to cut circles out of paper, and this is just your standard printer paper, so that we can make our buttons. Okay, the first step, because I want to get as much out of there, I'm watching where the blade is. Now, before you do that, you want to make sure your blade dimension is what your button maker makes. Now, I'm not going to say a number because I don't want you to take my number and then mess up depending on what size of buttons you've ordered. But you want to make sure that your piece of paper fits in the die, not the size of the button, because the paper is actually going to wrap around the edges. So you need a little extra. Okay, so next step, I'm going to look at the blade and I'm going to get as close as I can without wrecking the paper. And then I'm just going to make sure that we have everything there. Okay, so I'm going to hold down with here, and then I am going to just spin this around, and I'm going to switch hands just because I find it easier. And I'm going to go one more time because, as you can see, I kind of messed up there and there. Now, please keep in mind, I'm using cardboard underneath because the backing on this table I actually like, and it will cut. It is an X-Acto knife on a spinner. Okay, so we're going to switch positions here because the next thing is you need to do a bit of research, because if you just randomly start drawing pictures and all that, it won't look as good, and that's really important. So get some ideas, grab a scrap piece of paper, and kind of draw what you want on there. Once you have an idea solidified, and it can be black and white, it can be color, as long as you can draw it, you're good. You're going to want to take your piece of paper that you've cut out, and you're going to want to put your image mainly in the center of that piece of paper, because if you take a look at the piece of paper size compared to the button, it's oversized, and that's on purpose because the paper actually gets wrapped around and then the plastic seals over top of it. So you don't want to put any detail on the edge, otherwise you'll lose some imagery that you put a lot of work in. So make sure your image is pretty much in the center and there's a background on, and keep using the buttoned blanks to see where the image is going to set to make sure that you have what you want. And once the image is ready to go and you have your drawing on the piece of paper, now we got to press your button. Okay, we'll flip back to the shop. All right, so let's show you how to load up your button press. Okay, step one, we're going to load up the back plate. Now we want to see this zigzag on the top, and I also just like to have this pin part on the right. So I'm going to place it right in here, and I'm going to make sure that it's facing forward. I'm then going to push the button machine over, and I'm going to take my striker plate, and I'm going to place it on here. Then I'm going to take the design. Now, one thing about these is this head turns. So we don't want to put it straight. We want to put it a little to the right. And then if you want to see what I mean, just watch this pin right here, and it's going to move back and forth. And then the last thing we need to do is this. Okay. Put the plastic sheet over top. you now have a loaded.
Okay, so we've got the machine loaded. We've got our drawing, we've got all the pieces in already, as I've shown you. And now it's really simple at this stage. Okay, first, we want to press the image. Okay, so I'm going to push this in. I'm going to press down. I'm going to be snug, but not super harsh. Okay, I just want to get it nice and tight. Then I'm going to lift up, and it actually lifts in everything into the load. I'm going to push this over top. This is where you have to be very careful because you want enough pressure to bend everything together, but not enough that you're going to break anything. And then I just push there, firm. I can feel the metal. And then pull out. Now you've got your button. All right, so super simple, super fun, super fun. Okay, now let's get making buttons for you. Till next time, let's get making.